What's up, everyone? It is Dylan from Citrus on Creative, and today I'm going to be breaking down exactly how you can create high converting pop up forms for your brand, leading to more subscribers, more revenue. Let's jump right into it. So, for those of you that don't know, a pop up form is just a form that pops up on your website asking for customers' personal details like email or SMS when they first land on your page. They're designed to capture attention without completely derailing the customer experience, in theory. So now I'm sure 90% of you reading this already have a pop-up form in place, and it probably does okay, maybe 3 to 4% conversion rate. Am I right? What if in 10, 15 minutes you had all the info you needed to double or even triple that number? That is double the amount of new subscribers entering your list, double the welcome revenue, and more subscribers down the line, leading to further sales. These screenshots below are after working with a client for just 30 days. You can see their revenue from pop-up forms were £1,000, and after only 30 days, it's now £6,000. So this stuff really works. All right, so why pop-ups are crucial for your brand? I don't need to be the one to say it, but the cost of meta ads are getting out of control. You're spending tens of thousands, if not hundreds of $1,000s every single month to drive new traffic to your site. Now, without a pop-up form, the average e-commerce conversion rate is 1.3 to 2.6%. And now, if you're paying money to send 10,000 people to your site, for example, only about 150 end up purchasing right off the bat if we're looking at a 1.5% conversion rate. That's 98.5% of the traffic that you paid for, you most likely won't ever see again, and you have to pay more money to keep retargeting them and hopefully get them down the line. Um, Now, with a pop up form, it's a simple, low cost way to turn way more of your paid traffic into customers. So, if someone clicked your ad, they're most likely already interested in the product. They may just need a nudge. So, by offering a compelling incentive in exchange for their email or phone number, you give them a reason to take that next step. Not only give us their information, but with the incentive we offer them, make the purchase. So even if they don't buy right away, we've captured their info so you can follow up, build trust, and convert them later. All right, so let's break down the anatomy of a high converting pop-up form. So your delay trigger, we want to show our pop-up form 5 to 7 seconds after a visitor enters our site. We've tested this, and anything sooner irritates and overwhelms the customer, and any longer we miss them. Most customers are on your site for less than 10 seconds, so we want to get them before they're gone. All right, so we want a clear, benefit-driven, and attention-grabbing headline, like unlock 10% off your first order, unlock or save $20 off your first order, something that incentivizes them enough to hand over their precious email addresses. Now, we want to eliminate fluff. We don't need unnecessary paragraphs about who we are and what we do, what we sell. It's just going to kill the conversions. This is not the time or the place for it. Keep it just to your offer and get them to give us their info. Form fields. If you have multiple inputs on one page, it overwhelms the customer and they end up not giving anything. So we want to break this up into multiple steps. Now, mobile versus desktop, we want to create a separate pop-up form for mobile and for desktop. Mobile pop-up should not have an image as it takes up too much space and there's already such a small screen on mobile. All right, now delivery. This one kind of goes without saying, but as soon as they fill out the info, we want to get their incentive, give them their reward as soon as possible. This is also a great way to build up our deliverability as people expect the email, they go looking for it, and it's a great way to stay in the primary inbox. But obviously, if they go looking and our email is not there waiting with their gift, with their incentive, we're going to lose them. So make sure that we hit that. And then test, test, test. Make sure every single aspect about our pop-up form is being tested. The offer, the colors that we use, the trigger delay, everything. What works for one brand may not work for another. All right, so I'm going to show you the quickest and most effective way to create a high converting pop-up form that is going to make your brand so much money. So in your Klaviyo dashboard, go down to sign up forms, and we're just going to browse templates. They have a bunch of templates for you to choose from, and I recommend that you test a lot of them because what works for one brand may not work for another or may work really well. So I'm just going to do the grow your email and SMS list one. Make sure it's mapped to the right list. So I'm going to go email list and SMS list for SMS and emails. There you go. Create form. All right, so this is going to be for a mobile pop-up form, and I'll also show you how to do one for desktop as well. For mobile, I like to remove this teaser. This is this thing at the bottom. It takes up too much space on mobile when there's already not a lot of space, and just distracts and annoys the customer. So I'm going to take this out and just move on to our email opt-in. And for today, I'm going to show you how to create a micro commit pop-up form, which is basically an extra step before we ask for their input, and it basically asks them, hey, do you want this discount? And by getting them to agree to something as easy as that, saying, yes, I do want 10%, I do want free shipping, then when we ask for their information in exchange for that thing that they've already agreed to, they're much more likely to give it up. And so we found that this often works a lot better than just straight up asking them for their email off the rip. So how we create that is we just go over here and clone this, and I'm going to name it micro commit, clone step, and just drag it in front here, as this is the sequence that we follow. Okay, so and we're going to kick it off just by asking, do you want 10% off your first order? Now obviously this is going to be replaced by whatever offer you choose. 10% is a classic, it does work well, but you might find something that works a lot better. Maybe your customers enjoy free shipping more, or a buy one get one. You never know until you test. So I very much encourage you to keep constantly testing your pop-up forms. I'm just going to fix this formatting a little bit by playing around with sizing. Alright, so do you want 10% off your first order? We just want to get them to say yes. I'm going to play around with the styling a little bit. I don't need background color. I'm just looking to change the text color. Just make it all black. You obviously want to make it whatever your branding is. I'm going to, for this example, going to create a Nike one. So we are then going to add an image above here. We want to add a logo to reinforce brand identity. Alright, so you add your logo, and then you can play around with the spacing. Action, do nothing. We don't want to distract anyone. And you can play around with the spacing, how it looks against the sides, top. I'm gonna make this 13, give it a little bit more breathing room. Do you want 10% off first order? Okay. And then now this is what I like to call fluff. It's stuff we don't need, stuff that's just going to distract our customers from the main offer. So just delete this. And then we want to delete this email input as well, because we're doing a micro commit. We only want them to give us their info on the next step. So I'm going to take this out. And then just something to always remember in pop-up forms, we never want to say continue, as then customers know there's a next step. They know they're going to have to do more work and are a lot less likely to convert. So we're going to change this to claim 10% off. Right? And then another important thing is this cross, this X. Us as humans are kind of programmed or wired, especially these days, to just see an X and we immediately click off it and get it out of our face. We want to make our customers make a conscious decision to say no to our discount. So we're going to take this away, and how you do that, you click on it and just put the transparency all the way down, and see it's invisible now. Now obviously we want a way for customers to say no. We're just going to make that decision a little bit less frictionless. So we want to add a button here, button text, and now you can play around with this, use language however you like. What I've found in the past works well is just something simple like you can say like no thanks, close form, or you can say something like close form, I hate saving money. Now make sure this doesn't come across as passive aggressive, and you can play with that but you really want them to stop and be like, hey, I actually want this discount. I don't want to lose this one-time deal. So I'm going to just change it to no thanks, close form. And we want to make this button as unappealing as possible, so bring the transparency down around the block and then make this black so they can actually read it. No thanks, close form. Now I'm going to give this a little bit more space. Especially, yeah, let's see, so 16, 15. Okay, and that is how our first step looks. Then make sure this is mapped correctly. So the action is they submit the form. That's correct. They submit this form. And after submit, show next step, which is going to take us to our email opt-in. Now, I'm just going to clone this so we don't have to go through the whole process again. Email opt-in, clone step. Delete this. This is the old one. Just double check. Now we're going to change this because now this is the point where they can actually unlock the discounts. So unlock 10% off your first order. Boom. Just like that. And now obviously it's missing a button. I'm going to go add block and come down to email input so they can put the email address in. Email input. And I like to just have the email, the placeholder as email. Okay, unlock 10% off your first order. Email, claim 10% off. No thanks, close form. Easy as that. Okay, now moving on to SMS. An important thing to note is that once they submit this form, make sure everything is mapped correctly on the button, that when they submit the form, they submit it to email list, so that gets automatically collected regardless of whether they don't want to receive text, whether they opt out of the form now. We've still collected the email, so it doesn't really matter if we lose them on this step. And there's a couple ways to set up SMS. You can either increase the likelihood by offering them an extra discount, saying, and that's what I'm going to do for this one. Okay, so I have it unlock 5% extra, and then we want to add the block. We're going to add phone number, so they can actually input their phone number, and change this from subscribe via SMS to submit form. And the list to submit is our SMS list, and show next step. Instead of saying subscribe via SMS, I'm going to say claim 15% off. Change this to no thanks, close form. Boom, boom, boom. That looks okay. And then we're going to come over to our success page. I'm going to replace this with our logo. Just say something simple like check your inbox for your limited time 15% discount code. Something like that. Okay, and then we are also going to add a nice and easy button for them to close the form. Remember, make sure there's one here, no thanks, close form, and success, because this is our cross. I'm going to add a block and just make it a button here. And make sure the action is mapped to close form, and just say continue shopping. You're in. Okay, and that is our mobile one. See, they come in with the micro commit. Do you want 10% off first order? Yes, I do. Boom. They'll come over here. Email, claim 10% off. Unlock 5% extra by giving us their phone number. Claim 15% off. And then claim 15% off. Then after that, it takes them to the success page. You're in. Check your inbox for your limited time 15% discount code. And this will just take them back to your homepage. Okay, so that is our mobile pretty much done. It's a couple more things. We want to come over to targeting and behavior. Alright, so now we want to come over here and select when our form is going to show for our visitors. Now we've tested this and found the best time is anywhere from 4 to 7 seconds when they land on your site. Anything less overwhelms and distracts them, annoys them, and anything more, most customers are already gone. So we want to do it, we found 6 seconds to be the best, and then we're going to deselect this exit doesn't work, this doesn't work, and then this is fine. We obviously don't want to show again if the form was already submitted. And now this is mobile only, so I'm going to change it to mobile only. So it's only going to show up on mobile devices. And there you go. That is mobile. Let's go on to desktop. Okay, so we just want to grab our mobile form and clone it. Name it desktop. Continue. Come here, edit. Okay, so we're going to come over to targeting behavior and change it from mobile only to desktop only. Alright, so now this is how it looks like on desktop. Behind it is just my website, whatever's connected to Klaviyo. Yours might show this, it might not, doesn't matter, it's just a preview. We want to replace the site image with just a good image that showcases your brand in a good light. So I'm just going to replace it. Okay, and now this is actually good. I'm glad it did this. The image I just grabbed off the internet of Nike is larger than 5 megs, and if we don't compress our images, even for our pop-up forms, it's going to take a long time to load and hurt conversions and the customer experience. So just go to a site like iloveimg.com, compress your image here. You can see it's 93% smaller. Okay, so now we have our image, and we just want to go in and make sure that it is in every single slot. If it's doing this, it's probably, you just need to cover it. There you go, and fill the whole screen. For the success page, I like to, if you have a brand image of, I don't know, people throwing their hands up in the air or celebrating, I like to always do that. In this case, I'm just going to keep the same one that I've been using. That is how you can create a high converting pop-up, and I know I've said it, keep testing. What works for some people may not work for your brand.